Good morning everyone. Today we are going to discuss about Hess law of constant heat summation. What is this Hess law we are going to discuss? We know already that enthalpy is a state function, right? We have already discussed about that. Yes, the change in enthalpy is independent on the path between initial state and the final state. That means what? When the reaction is taking place from reactants to products, reactants generally we take as initial state, products generally we take as what? Final state. That means what? Here enthalpy change will not depend on the path, how the reaction is taking place, right? It will not depending upon path between initial state and the final state, students. So what is this Hess law means? Mainly this Hess law, the total enthalpy change during the complete course of a reaction is same whether the reaction takes place in one step or in several steps. That means what? The reaction may be complete within a step, a single step also, or else the reaction may takes place in several steps. That means what? Through via intermediates also there is a chance to takes place. How it is? You may ask a question here. For example, A gives rise to B. General equation I have taken. A gives rise to B. A is reactant, B is product. A is reactant, B is product, right? So the A can be converting directly to the product B. There is a chance. So that reaction change in enthalpy of the reaction I have taken with delta HR. So we have two methods we have. Method one is what? Direct formation of the product in a single step. That is A gives rise to B. Then the enthalpy of the reaction is what? Delta HR I have taken. The reaction may complete in another manner, that is method 2. Product is formed indirectly by proceeding in several steps. Several steps means what? A may be converting into first C, one of the intermediate. C may be converting into D again. D again it may be converting into B. That means what? Via intermediate steps if it complete, then how do we calculate the change in enthalpy of the reaction? Change in enthalpy of the reaction is equal to what? The sum of enthalpy changes of all these steps should be equal to this one. Should be equal to this one. That means what? Energy no changes. The sum value also equals to this only. That only it is telling Hess law. What is that? The total enthalpy change during the complete course of the reaction. It may take place in a single step or it may take place in several steps. Whatever it may be, the total enthalpy change should be always the same whether the reaction taking place in single step or in several steps, students. The total enthalpy change during the complete course of a reaction is same whether the reaction takes place in one step or in several steps. This is method 1, this is method 2. What is method 1? Direct formation of the product in a single step. A gives rise to B. Then the change in enthalpy of the reaction is delta HR. In method 2, what? If product is formed indirectly by proceeding in several steps via C and B, C and D, if reaction completed, then what is the change in enthalpy of the reaction is means? That is also same only. It is also equal to delta HR only. But we have to sum it all the enthalpy changes. What are the delta H1, delta H2, delta H3? That sum value should be equal to this value. I hope everybody understood. This is called what? Hess law. So one more definition we have for Hess law. What is that? Also we'll see that, student. Now this Hess law of constant heat summation is an extension of law of conservation of energy. Law of conservation of energy is what? First law of thermodynamics, right? The energy may transform from one form to another form, but the energy neither be created nor be destroyed. Everybody knows it. First law of thermodynamics. It is just an extension of what? A law of conservation of energy, students. This is about Hess law. One more definition we have. What is that definition? Also we will see that. So this is also definition. Hess law definition only. I have written one definition. In simple manner I have written. One more definition is there. What is that? Also we will see that, students. You copy this. Let us take another definition of Hess law of constant heat summation. The same only here a little bit you have to identify here if your reaction takes place in several steps. We have already discussed, students, if the reaction is taking place a single step, A gives rise to B, then the change in enthalpy of the reaction is delta HR we have taken. If the reaction takes place in several steps means A gives rise to C gives rise to D. If D is converting into B, then we have taken here delta H1R, delta H2R, delta H3R, right? Yes. We have taken, right? If the reaction takes place in several steps, it's the standard reaction enthalpy. Standard reaction enthalpy, symbol is what? Standard reaction enthalpy is delta H0R. Is the sum of the standard enthalpies of the intermediate reactions. Intermediate reactions means this is one intermediate. This is another intermediate reaction. This is another. Three reactions, intermediate reactions, right? So all these intermediate reactions, standard enthalpy values we have to sum it. That means what? Delta H1R plus delta H2R plus delta H3R, right? This is the another definition. See that the sum of the standard enthalpies of the intermediate reactions into which the overall reaction may be divided at the same temperature means what? This reaction mechanism also in several steps, whatever the reaction is taking place, that also we have to maintain at the same temperature only, students, right? So this is the overall definition of what the Hess law of constant summation. So first definition is better than second definition. First definition is very easy. This also same thing only, but here we have discussed only about what the several steps. There we have discussed the enthalpy change during complete the course of the reaction may be same whether the reaction takes place in single step or in several steps, students. That is also one of the definition. This is also one of the definition of what Hess law of constant summation. Then what are the applications of this Hess law? We will see that. Copy this one. Let us see, students, what are the applications of Hess law? The first application I have given to you, you see that in the determination of heat of formation of intermediate compounds which are unstable or which cannot be isolated. So intermediate compounds enthalpy changes, that is heat formation, we cannot determine that much easily. So heat formation of carbon monoxide cannot be determined directly. Suppose you want to measure the heat formation of CO, this is enthalpy change of the reaction, that is CO. You want to measure, for example, we cannot measure directly, but we can measure indirectly by using Hess law. Why? Because this is unstable compound. CO is a carbon monoxide is not that much stable. If you get also carbon monoxide, if you get also a significant amount of CO2 also produced, then how do we calculate? Means by using a Hess law we can calculate. How it is possible? You see that. Suppose I want to measure the standard enthalpy of the reaction of CO formation. 1 mole of CO, right? 1 mole of CO. How do we find out? Means we have the method according to Hess law. So we know a significant amount of carbon dioxide is also there is a chance to form in this reaction. When carbon combines with oxygen, definitely it will produce some amount of CO, some amount of CO2 also there is a chance to form. So because of that reason I have taken here C graphite, that is carbon combines with oxygen and produce CO2. In their standard states only I have taken. Its standard enthalpy of the reaction is this much, right? And these values are important, students, here. Whatever the values I have given, I told you now all the values you should not remember, and all, but here these two values are important. Minus 393.5 kilojoule per mole in the formation of CO2. In the formation of CO2 from CO, what is the value of standard enthalpy of the reaction is minus 283 kilojoule per mole amount of energy. But only in case of board examination it is useful remembering this. In objective examination and all, they will give you the values also. Don't worry about that. Only these two values I am telling you to remember. So minus 393.5 in the formation of CO2 from carbon. The formation of CO2 from CO, what is the standard enthalpy of the reaction? Minus 283 kilojoule per mole. Then by using these two equations, we can get this equation. How it is possible? We have to think about that. So first equation and second equation. You see that, students, here. Suppose if you do 1 minus 2, what will happen? 1 minus 2, you try it. 1 minus 2 means second equation we have to take reverse. That means what? CO plus positive sign is there. Here they have to take negative. Here positive sign is there. Here they have to take negative. Here also positive means negative only, right? That negative, if you send to that side, it will become positive, right? CO will become positive if you send to product side. Here half O2 is there. Here plus 1 O2 is there. 1 minus half. 1 minus half is how much? Plus half. Everybody knows it. That means what? Half mole of O2 is left. C graphite S plus half mole of O2 is present. Here negative CO2, positive CO2, both will cancelize, right? This will cancelize. Then negative CO is left in the reactant side, that you can send to product side, then you will get positive CO, right? So if you do 1 minus 2, whatever the reaction is required, that equation only we have got. That means what? 1 minus 2 we have done with respect to reactants and products means, along with that change in enthalpy also you have to take. So change in enthalpy of this reaction is how much? Change in enthalpy of this reaction is one value minus second equation value. First equation value minus second equation value we have to take. So first equation value is how much? Minus 393.51 minus second equation value minus 283, minus of minus 283. Then after simplification you will get minus 110.5 kilojoule per mole. This value they did not give directly, but we know CO2 formation is there from carbon. What is the value of that standard enthalpy change of the reaction is this is the value. And CO2 value is there from intermediate product, that is CO. What is the value of that means this is the value. So we have to go according to Hess law. If you take single step or in multiple steps also, the change in enthalpy value should be same according to Hess law. So I have taken multiple steps and I have subtracted. Then you will get this equation, right? Delta H naught R value you have got. That is what? Minus 110.5 kilojoule per mole amount of energy. Because this is combustion reaction. All combustion reactions are exothermic in nature, students. So this is the way we have. This is one of the application. Importance of water. Hess law also we can say. Okay, you can copy this. Let us see, students, one more application of Hess law, that is heat changes in phase transitions and allotropic transitions can be calculated. Heat changes in phase transitions and allotropic transitions can be calculated. How do you calculate? We will discuss by taking one example. Here the heat of transition of diamond carbon into graphite carbon. In the conversion of diamond carbon to graphite carbon, how do we calculate the heat change or enthalpy change? And if you convert graphite carbon to diamond carbon also, how do we calculate enthalpy change? We will discuss here, students. For that I have taken a standard enthalpy of formation of carbon dioxide. Standard enthalpy of formation of carbon dioxide from diamond carbon I have taken, and that standard value is minus 395.4 kilojoule per mole, students. Here formation of CO2 gas from graphite carbon, if you on combustion of graphite carbon, what is the value of this? On combustion of diamond carbon, what is the value of this? I have given to you equation. Then here we are converting the heat of transition of diamond carbon into graphite carbon, right? Diamond carbon into graphite carbon. So diamond carbon we are converting into graphite carbon. How do we convert here? By using these two equations means diamond carbon should be in the product side. Diamond carbon to graphite carbon. Diamond carbon should be in the reactant side. Graphite carbon should be in the product side. In such a manner we have to use these two equations. That means what? In the first equation, reactant side diamond carbon is there. We need a reactant side only diamond carbon. So as it is, I am taking first equation. In the second equation, graphite carbon is there in the reactant side, but we need product side. So that's why reverse reaction I am taking second equation. Because of that reason, I am doing here 1 minus 2, students. If you do 1 minus 2, what will happen? Here it will become negative. This is a negative. This is a negative, right? Negative get cancelled now. This one. So negative carbon, if you send to product side, it will become positive, right? So diamond carbon we have converted into graphite carbon by using these two equations, right? So what is the change in enthalpy? Here means change in enthalpy, if you take delta H naught is equals to 1 First reaction as it is value you can take. Second reaction minus second reaction value. Minus second reaction value is this much. So after calculation you will get minus 1.9 kilojoule per mole, students. 1.9 kilojoule per mole. This is. Suppose if you want to convert graphite carbon to diamond carbon, a reverse reaction you will take. So same value but with positive sign you will get. I hope everybody understood. These are the applications of Hess law. Okay, na? Copy this one, students. Let us see, students, one numerical. A swimmer coming out from a pool is covered with a film of water weighing about 18 grams. How much heat must be supplied to evaporate this water at 298 Kelvin? Calculate the internal energy of vaporization at 100 degrees Celsius. 100 degrees Celsius means how many kelvins? 373 Kelvin, right? Yes. Delta H naught vaporization for water also they have given, that is 40.66 kilojoule per mole at 373 Kelvin. Temperature is constant, that is what? 373 Kelvin. What is the values they have given? Delta H naught vaporization they have given. Temperature value they have given. Mass of the water also given. Mass of the water is how much? 18 grams. That means what? 18 grams of water is evaporating. Suppose a liquid water is evaporating to gaseous water. That is water vapor. But whatever the mass we have taken, H2O mass will not change. 18 grams we have taken means 18 grams only will evaporate. That weight will not change. But the physical state is changing, right? Vaporization is nothing but what? The process of conversion of a liquid to vapor is called what? Vaporization. So 18 grams of water they have given means 18 grams of water vapor only you will get it, right? So here we have to calculate internal energy. Internal energy is nothing but what? U. Internal energy symbol is what? U. So change in internal energy we have to calculate actually here. So changing the internal energy, how do we calculate means by using the knowledge of enthalpy. Enthalpy value already given. So what is the relation between enthalpy and the internal energy means we know that delta H equals to delta U plus delta nRT, students, right? We know this equation. Because H equals to what? U plus PV. After derivation PV equals to nRT, right? According to gas ideal gas equation. PV equals to nRT, this H equals to U plus PV, you can able to convert it into delta H equals to delta U plus delta nRT, already we have discussed here, right? From this you will get delta U, because we have to calculate the internal energy. Internal energy delta U is equals to what? Delta H minus delta nRT, right? So this only I am writing, this equation only I am writing in the form of vaporization. Because this process is vaporization process. So as per delta U, vaporization is equals to delta H vaporization plus minus delta nRT. What is the meaning of delta N? Delta N is nothing but change in number of gaseous moles. Change in number of gaseous moles only. That means number of moles of products minus number of moles of gaseous reactants. Number of moles of gaseous products minus number of moles of gaseous reactants. That is NP minus NR. NP meaning is what? Number of moles of gaseous reactants. NR is nothing but number of moles of gaseous. NR is nothing but number of moles of gaseous reactants. NP is nothing but what? Number of moles of gaseous products. Right? Now in this reaction, you observe this. Liquid water will be converting into gaseous water. That means gaseous water vapor. Right? So delta N is nothing but what? NP minus NR. NP is gaseous only, right? Product is gaseous. So that's why I have taken 1 here. Nothing is there means 1. 18 grams means 1 mole only, right? 1 mole. So that's why 18 grams of what? Or else this equation you can also write like this. H2O liquid water will be converting into H2O gaseous. Suppose you are confusing means you can also write like this, I am telling you. So now you observe in this equation what is the delta N? Gaseous product 1 is there. This is not gas. For pure liquids and solids, we should not consider number of moles. We know already that. So 1 minus 0. Delta N equals to what? 1 we have got. The delta N value we know. R is gas constant, we know already, we can substitute. Temperature is 373 Kelvin already given. So delta H vaporization also given. So after substitution of these values, you will get change in internal energy of vaporization, students. How it is, you will see that. Now you substitute the values in this equation. Delta H vaporization they have given 40.66, right? Minus delta N value we have got 1. So 40.66 it is there in kilojoule per mole. So that's why R value also you should take in kilojoules only. R value is what? 8.314 joule mole inverse Kelvin inverse actually. This value I am taking in kilojoules means 8.314 into 1 joule equals to how many kilojoules? 10 power minus 3, right? So we need to multiply with 10 power minus 3 kilojoule mole inverse Kelvin inverse students. So this value we have to substitute. 8.314 into 10 to the minus 3 only we have to substitute, because delta H value they have given kilojoules. So R value also we should take in kilojoules only. Suppose if you want to take in joules, this value you have to convert into joules. Either of the way you can follow it. Now I am converting R value to kilojoules. So that's why here 1 into 8.314 into 10 to the minus 3 I have taken. In terms of kilojoules this is, right? Temperature is 373 Kelvin students. After multiplying these three, you will get 3.1. So 40.66 minus 3.1 you will get 37.56 kilojoule per mole is the correct answer, students. So that is the internal energy of vaporization at 373 Kelvin or 100 degrees Celsius for 18 grams of water, students. I hope everybody understood this numerical. You can copy this. Let us see, students, the next topic we have enthalpies for different types of reactions. Enthalpies for different types of reactions. So the first one, standard enthalpy of combustion. Combustion we know, burning the substance in the presence of air, in the presence of oxygen, right? Combustion. Combustion reactions always exothermic, we know. Some amount of heat is liberated during combustion. So exothermic in nature, these are important in industry, rocketry and other walks of life. How do we define this standard enthalpy of combustion? Means the enthalpy change per mole or per amount of a substance when it undergoes combustion. So combustion, burning of substance, how much substance per mole of the substance or per unit amount of the substance if you combust, then what will happen? All the reactants and products being in their standard states at the specified temperature, how much amount of enthalpy change, that we can call as what? Standard enthalpy of combustion, students. What is the meaning of combustion? Combustion is nothing but burning of the substance, right? How much substance means per mole of the substance if you combust, then how much change in enthalpy you have observed when all the reactants are converting into products, right? So that only I have given to you the definition. You see that the enthalpy change per mole of a substance when it undergoes combustion, all the reactants and products being in their standard states. So when do we take that standard enthalpy of combustion? Means whatever the reactants and products are present after completion of the reaction, that all the substances should be in their standard states at the specified temperature. Then only we call that is what? Standard enthalpy of combustion, students. That the standard enthalpy of combustion we can represent it with what? Delta H naught. This naught indicates standard condition, right? Change in enthalpy is delta H. This is the process of which process? Combustion process. So that's why I have taken here C. Delta H naught C. This is the meaning of what? Standard enthalpy of combustion, right? During combustion of hydrocarbons, hydrocarbons means hydrocarbons made up of both hydrogen and carbon. So during combustion of hydrocarbons or other organic compounds, carbon will be converting into carbon dioxide, hydrogen will be converting into water in the liquid state, students, right? So burning of fuels and foodstuffs involve generally in combustion, right? Yes, this continuation part you will see the students. You copy this. Let us see, students, here calorific value. What is the meaning of calorific value? Means of a substance is the heat of combustion per gram of substance. If you combust 1 gram of the substance, then you will get that particular substance calorific value. So calorific value of a substance is the heat of combustion per gram of a substance. So it is the energy, that is calorific value is also one of the energy value produced by burning 1 gram of a substance, 1 gram of any fuel, that is. Okay na? That is the meaning of calorific value. When do we say the given fuel is whether it is more efficient or not? By checking the value of calorific value, we can identify. Higher the value of calorific value, more efficient is the fuel. Whether the given fuel among all the fuels, they may give one list and they will ask you arrange the all fuels in the increasing order of their calorific values or increasing order of their efficiency. There is a chance to ask. So by looking the values of calorific value, we can identify which fuel is more efficient and all, right students? So higher the value of, higher the calorific value, more efficient is the fuel. Okay na? That is the hint we have, students. Now you see that cooking gas in cylinder mainly contains butane, that is C4H10. During complete combustion of 1 mole of butane, how much amount of heat is released means 2658 kilojoule per 2658 kilojoule of heat is released. There is a chance to ask in a competitive examination here during complete combustion. Here cooking gas mainly contains butane. This is one. Many times they have asked. Cooking gas in cylinder contains mostly what fuel means butane. So on complete combustion of that 1 mole of butane, how much amount of heat is released means 2658 kilojoule of heat is released, students, right? What is the reaction involved in complete combustion? Combustion means what? Burning of the substance in the presence of oxygen, that is air. We know already that C4H10 plus 13/2O2. After balancing the equation, we have got that. See, complete combustion. On combustion of hydrocarbon, the carbon will be converting into carbon dioxide, hydrogen will be converting into water in the liquid state. Already we have discussed this. After that, after taking products, you have to balance it. So, corresponding number of moles, that is coefficients, you will get it. So, what is the combustion of 1 mole of butane means? This is the value we have got. This value we should not change because we have taken 1 mole of butane. In the similar manner, if you observe on combustion of 1 mole of glucose, how much amount of energy is liberated out means 2802 kilojoule per mole amount of energy is liberated out, students, for 1 mole of glucose. Alright, this is the balanced equation. I hope everybody understood this. And next, our body also generates energy from food. We know already that by the same overall process as combustion. How the combustion, after combustion, how much amount of energy is liberating? In a similar manner, our body also generates energy from food by the same overall process as combustion. Although the final products are produced after a series of complex biochemical reactions involving enzymes in our body, right? Body generates energy from food after a series of complex biochemical reactions involving enzymes, students. So this is the process of water standard enthalpy of combustion. Based on this, we have the numerical. That numerical we will discuss in the next class, students. You can copy this. Based on this numerical, whatever the numerical I am going to explain, that is very, very important in public examination, students. You can copy that. Not only in public examination, it is also important in the competitive examination also. Okay, na students? Tomorrow, that is in the next video, we will discuss that. Thank you all. Copy this one.